any longer, as far as I understand. And they are up to 600 kids. These are all refugee kids. And so let me share a little bit of the conversation I was able to have with Becky, like I said, who she's the English teacher, one of the English teachers, about the situation and how it's going teaching there. So here's a bit of my conversation with her.
But tell me, as a teacher, what you've witnessed with how kids have struggled through this year with their learning. What have you seen there on the ground?
One of the things you had mentioned was like, how does online education work in our school? And it really doesn't. Like,
yeah,
we send WhatsApp messages 3 times a week for each subject, and then the biggest issue is our kids, if they have Wi-Fi, they usually don't have computers. They have mom or dad's phone, and our larger families can have 10 to 15 kids, and so one family specifically has 7 of their kids in our school simultaneously. And so if you think 7 kids and 15-minute videos, 4 subjects, it adds up. And you're using mom's data. And so after a while, they're just like, whatever, we don't care. And that's a challenge in getting them education, but also a challenge in parents who haven't gone to school themselves, trying to convince them that this is valuable and necessary, and you should force your kids to watch the videos.
Well, thanks, Gordon, for that. That's really insightful. We've done online learning here in Canada, of course. I have struggled through it with my 2 daughters, each having their own device and a pretty good Wi-Fi connection. I can't fathom these large families of 15 kids, and some of them, I think she said up to 7 children in each family doing online school together, 4 subjects on mom's iPhone, and the data and the Wi-Fi connections and the, I'm sure, sibling arguments. I cannot imagine the struggle of trying to teach in that environment through a WhatsApp app. And for the kids, just trying to learn and catch up.
Yeah, the layers of complexity, just as you go down from fleeing your home country, the violence, the uncertainty of all of that. You speak Arabic, then you come into a country where you don't speak 2 official languages, which are French and English. Now your education has to begin by learning a language before you can carry on just with your regular learning. Then throw in a global pandemic. Yeah, it has been such a time. So anyways, I have another thing that I want to share with you, because Becky was very kind to share this clip. Now check this out.
Let's chop some broccoli, broccoli. Some vegetables for you and me. Carrot, broccoli. Carrot, broccoli. Some vegetables for you and me. And we sing la la la, la la la. And we sing la la la, la la la. Vegetables for me, vegetables for you and me. One more time. Vegetables for you, vegetables for me, vegetables for you and me.
Oh, Gordon, that is a super sweet clip. It is wonderful just to have an actual glimpse into what school looks like right now. We can see that they're in masks, of course, being back in school after some online learning. They are just absolutely adorable, and you can see their enthusiasm for being in school. It's really inspiring.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? Well, vegetables never sounded so good to me.
No, never.
One of the other things that I was speaking with Becky about, because, your heart has got to be in it I believe she's been there 6 years teaching in that situation. And it's a really tough place to be right now. If you look up what the inflation rate is like in that country, it is going out of control. So now they have, now a financial crisis on top of everything else. But the heart for her kids as a teacher, to see them excel. And she doesn't know how long she will have certain kids, right? If you're not on a regular school program. The kids are there as they can be there. Should those kids be heading back to Syria at some point, or resettling somewhere else, or becoming refugee claimants in another country? Yeah, she shares a little bit about her heart and what she hopes these kids could take away, that they recall from their experience with her. So check this.
Give me one hope as a teacher, that as you present to these kids and you look them in the eye and you know them by name and stuff, what's your hope for them and their futures?
My hope ultimately is salvation. Hope educationally is that they understand that education is a key to open doors, that they understand life skills. We have about 20 to 25% of our kids that end up going to sixth grade. That's just the value of education in the family and convincing their families. But I was discussing with another teacher today that if they never go to sixth grade, if they never continue their education, I want them, one, to know that their teacher fought for them. Like they fought to make sure you learned, that they were successful, that they opened every door possible, that you were willing to walk through them, door with them. And two, that they learn life skills. We listened to the video of their morning mantra. And my first year, that became part of my class, just because I was getting so frustrated with, like, I'm teaching you English every day. And part of that is, we teach traumatized kids. So like there's a brain fog there that as an English teacher, I can do my best and love them through and get them through. And some we've seen amazing successes with, and some it's just heartbreaking. I have a girl in that video that when I asked her what her greatest fear was, like I was just making chit chat at their house when we were visiting with their family. And her brothers and sisters who are younger were like, oh, I'm afraid of snakes. I'm afraid of dogs. I'm like normal fears for a kid. And she said, I'm afraid the bombs will come back. And for her in third grade, there was a violence in her. She was making threats to people. She was angry and she was rude. And now she's in an online school. And she came to we had a mother-daughter tea for the girls that are now in our Bible studies, like they're former graduates and going to Bible study. And she knew I was leaving, and she looked at me and she's like, my neighbor said I could never go to university, but I said Miss Rebecca can do everything. And I was like, that's a huge compliment as a teacher. It's not true. Jesus can do everything. Miss Rebecca can do her best. But just the heart behind that morning mantra was like, God, if they don't remember anything else, if they never remember English, what do I want them at 30 years old to think back and think, these are the words I know in English? And so we say these 6 sentences every day, and it's been translated, it's been explained. Sometimes they remember, sometimes they don't. But I'm like, Google Translate can help when they're 30. And I want them to know that they were created for a reason, and that reason is relationship with the Father, and that they're loved by both God and me. And when things get hard, don't give up, which we use in class all the time. They're like, Miss Rebecca, it's so hard. I'm like, oh, when things get hard. And they go, oh, don't give up. And we finish what we start. Like, you can say, I want to do it all you want, but you've got to finish what you start. And you set an example with your words and actions, and that God made today. And we can make the choice to be happy and joyful. And so each of those are founded on a scripture. And just, it's interesting as a teacher how you can say it in the morning and think, I'm giving this speech to myself.
Yeah.
I was created for a reason. When things get hard, don't give up. And you're talking to yourself and they're reminding you.
Well, on behalf of everyone that could be watching this, thank you for all of your efforts.
Well, thanks for that, Gordon. You can certainly hear Becky's passion and her heart in that. It, as you said, it is a tough time to be an educator in the context that she's in. And I love that she says she wants her students to know that their teachers fought for them. She says that between 20 and 25% of students go on to grade 6. So it's certainly just a tough environment. But her heart to know, for these kids to know that teachers have fought for them. She wants them to know that the teachers have tried to open every door possible, have gone above and beyond. And you can just hear that in her words, and it can see her passion for teaching and her love for these students.
Yeah, and that care and compassion that teachers have for their kids. I mean, I've seen it, and like we've talked about, your kids are smaller than mine. One of mine has actually taught her first year this year online, and she has such a heart for those kids, and and she's given her all in a very difficult situation. So education has suffered, not just for the students, but for those that are passionate about their occupation and their calling to be
Absolutely.
teachers.
Absolutely. I have a family of teachers as well. My mom was a teacher for 36 years. My sister's over a decade now teaching, and her husband as well. And and I've watched them struggle through this, but continue to be passionate and continue to do all that they can for students. And my girls have experienced the same thing. We've had, teachers come and drop Chromebooks off at the house for them to use, make phone calls in the evenings to make sure that they're getting all the information that they need, that they've got the resources, just going above and beyond. At one point, my daughter's teacher was throwing graph paper out the window. She didn't want parents to have to go shopping. Everything was in lockdown, and you could come by the school and she would let packages of of grid paper go for math class. So talk about above and beyond. I'm just so impressed with educators that we have who have been working so hard through this pandemic.
Well, that's, one of the reasons, my daughter being one reason that's super close to home for me, but for me and my team's made up of, has another teacher, the Breakfast Club team has another teacher in it who has taught most of this year online. So, so when we were talking about active admission and education, and certainly when I was building my team, I was thinking of my dear friend Julie, and and the challenges that she's faced, just like Maddie has. So I'm going to use this opportunity to champion the Breakfast Club. So I'm of a certain age, and in 1985, the movie The Breakfast Club was a big hit. And I would like to say I was still in high school in 1985, but I wasn't quite. Not quite. But most of my team was. So what we've done is we took our age in 1985, and we've taken our age now, and combine that number, and that's just as I'm walking. So if you did go to school, you'll be able to figure out that I'm walking 77 kilometers. Don't do that math, Louise. Don't even do that math. However, if you want to sponsor the Breakfast Club and our efforts to raise funds for education, then you can click that link below. You can join my team and our efforts. You can create your own team. And where are we at with funding right now?
So we are over halfway to our goal of $30,000, but there is certainly still time to join. You can join the Breakfast Club. If I joined your team, I wouldn't have to walk half as far as you. I can tell you, I was not in high school in 1985. I was not in school in 1985. But I've got a team as well. We're going to walk not 77 kilometers, but we're going to walk from the elementary school in our community to the middle school in our community. Together, my church has a team for that. And you can still join at activeadmission.ca. There is still time to join because any funds that you raise will help us support our education-related programs in 8 countries around the world. So we would love for you to jump on board with this. It's easy and it's free to sign up. And you can sign up as an individual, rope your family into it, walk on behalf of a teacher that's made a difference in your life, or get a team going or join an existing team. We'd love to have you join us. So watch our social medias next week, beginning the week of July the 18th until the 25th, as participants and teams post their photos and updates about their activities through this. Gordon, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with Becky. Thank you so much for the glimpse that we have into a classroom there and also into just the complex situation that's going on in Lebanon and how that's affecting education.
Well, it is my pleasure. And I'm going to hopefully be back with you post-event with, we'll do a recap of what we've seen. We've seen some pretty hilarious things last year. And I'm sure we'll see a few more hilarious things this year. And
this is meant to be fun, so
absolutely
planning on it.
So, and we'll have another announcement about something else that you might be interested in. So I will look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks.
Sounds good. All right, thank you so much, and thank you so much for watching today. Take care.